All right. So I am here to present a tool that I use that I absolutely do not take credit for creating. But I was, it's something that I like to kind of brush up on and modify at certain time points throughout the year. For example, when summer's about to start, when the school year is about to start, and I was about to email a few parents and say, oh, don't forget to update your About Me page. And then I was like, I feel like I'm hoarding this information. I want to share it with SEPAC instead and make it broader. And so that's really what this is about. It's just a tool. And I, like I said, I did not invent it. I'm calling it an About Me page. Sometimes people call it a one pager, but it's basically a summary of your child. So what is an About Me page? It's here's a snapshot of one, and I'm sorry, my son's going to be the one featured because that's just easiest for me. So it's a way of making a visually appealing summary of your child. You can do so much with this tool. The purpose is to highlight goals, strengths, any areas your child might be working on, things that are unique features about your child. I also like to, of course, always have the photo and basic information. So you're thinking, okay, so why would I spend the time to make this page? And I will mention it's a lot of work when you first make it, but then updating it every few months or once a year is really easy. So why would I do that? It's a great way to, oh, yes, Ryan, you can come in. It's a great way to introduce your child to new teachers at the start of the school year, or if there's a staff change, or you have a wider team working with your student. It's a really great way to highlight the positives of your child. I think a lot of us can relate to when we look at IEPs or 504s, we feel like we're spending a lot of time talking about our child's challenges and deficiencies and all of that. I love this one pager to really emphasize the strengths and positives of our child. When you go to an IEP meeting, and I remember I had this prepared for my very first IEP meeting when my child was only 3, and he certainly was not in the room, and I was new to RPS, and basically a way of like introducing him. So it really brings some more color and personality than that document that everyone is looking at in the IEP meeting. Hold on one sec. Telling my other child to be quiet instead of screening. Other ways that you can use this tool that is for people who your child interacts with who may or may not have access to their IEP or 504 plan. Of course, some of these people do, but when you're doing summer school or ESY, the staff there, if you decide to enroll your child in the summer camp, and this is something that, that I've been doing for a couple of years. I only recently thought a little bit more outside the box and started using this for things like sports or music classes or dance or any kind of extracurricular outside of school where you're kind of sending your child off and your child has some unique needs or features that it would really help that person, that instructor to know about. You can use this tool. So what could you put on the About Me page? The sky's the limit, but there's all kinds of things. I'll just give some examples and to like brainstorm from here. And I'm sure if I went around the Zoom call, people would come up with another 20 things you could put on here. But make sure, obviously, it has your child's name, how old they are currently when someone's looking at it, a picture of them to really, push that visual, where they are in school. And like I said, try and update it every 6 months or so, or update it when you think you're about to. It might look silly if you're handing off this page to someone and you know, it's something like my child loves rubber ducks. And then you're like, oh my God, they outgrew loving rubber ducks. They really don't anymore. So now it's Hot Wheels or something like that. Um, it's nice to come up with a vision statement. You don't have to, but it does help. Um, it's a great way to you can highlight your child's personality. Are they loud? Are they shy? Are they friendly? Are they very excitable? Again, the strengths. I love this. You know, maybe your child's a really fast runner. That could also come with you have to watch them from wandering off, but it's still a great way to take something that you're working on to also talk about why it's a strength. Maybe your child is really determined is a nice way. If you might have, you know, maybe they're stubborn sometimes, but that can also be seen as determined. Like there's all kinds of ways that you can think about your child and put their strengths on this sheet. You could use this as an opportunity to say how your child is communicating. Maybe they're using sign language. Maybe they're using a PECS board or a talk tool. This is a great way for someone to know that who might know that not otherwise know that about your child. I love adding things that the child loves, you know, a little thing about their family or pets, or maybe the child's really into music. Maybe the child loves playing kickball. Maybe they're obsessed with Lego. Maybe they have a huge Barbie collection, little things like that, because that can really help, you know, your child's instructors to connect with your child when they know a little bit about your kid at home and what they really like. The things I'm working on section, I often refer to the IEP to come up with that. Here's some examples of things, you know, maybe in speech, the child's working on speaking in longer sentences. Maybe in OT, they're working on cutting with scissors. Maybe in general, they need help with following instructions or using gentle hands. So I think about the IEP, but then I also think about more beyond that. And then really unique issues. Maybe your child has specific feeding issues, certain allergies, of course, foods they really like, foods they can't stand, or utensils they need to use. Maybe they're still in their potty training journey and where that might be. Or a recommendation of, you know, if you see a challenging behavior with this child, they really need a hug, or don't give them a hug, like those types of things. You can put anything like that on your About Me page. So here's, again, other ways that you can use the page is I took my full page and made like a half sheet version targeted at audiences outside of school. So when it comes to summer camp, actually, I still use the long one with summer camp. But for example, I removed all the references to academics. You know, they don't need to know that my child's working on counting up to 20, but they might want to know things like where they are in learning to swim, or that my child is super sensitive to heat or loud noises and needs headphones, things like that. When it comes to sports, I have, and that's the example I have here, you know, I zeroed in on exactly where my child is with baseball in this case, that he really needs to learn the rules of the game, how to throw a ball, but he's really great at kicking, or he can hit the ball. And other just ways you can use this, you know, examples of I need a break when X happens, or sometimes I cry when things really don't go my way, which, you know, an older child, that might be an unexpected behavior. But if that's something your child does, you could put it on here. Or I listen best when you repeat things, or whatever it is. Or I love to go first, I hate to go first, things like that. You can really just use this to go anywhere you want. So I guess one other thing, I'm not sure, did I say it here? Oh, yes. I'm going to jump to the bottom for a second. So think about your audience if you choose to make one of these, whether it makes the most sense to print in color and bring it to wherever you're bringing it, or stick it in your child's backpack, or you PDF it and you email it to your audience. It really just do whatever works best, but just think about it. So this looks like such a great tool. How do I get started, right? So I use Canva, which many of you may be familiar with, some of you not. It's an online like layout design tool that has both free and a paid for version. When you saw those screenshots I shared before, I only have the free version. I don't pay for it. So you can make something visually appealing without investing the money in Canva if you don't want to. There's a template that I have the link right here. It's not my own templates, but if people want my templates, I don't mind. You just copy and save your own so you don't mess with my copy, or I can send you some older ones. And then there's also instructions that I did not write that are on here, and there's a link for that too. So I'll just close with a quote that I got from when I brought this sheet when I started my son at YMCA camp, not this past summer, but the summer before. The camp director said, "Oh, I wish every camper came with one of these sheets." So, you know, there really is value to it. That is all I had, so I can open it up now for questions or anything people want to say.
Thank you, Timna. This is really, really great. Definitely something I plan to use this advice and create something for my son who's entering kindergarten next year. As he will be a new student, I think this is going to be really just helpful for him. And I'm sure there's other parents that will definitely be using this too.
Great.